to teach you a certain amount of things. But you got to realize one thing about this when you're doing that, and just understand this. This particular knowledge is your knowledge. So in so many words, the spirit realm chose a group of people to go through this, to access all this information, and give it back to the one who will wake up and the spirit of information. You see, too often we look at that person has great wisdom, and we want to turn our life over to that particular person. And the whole key is that person will get the person to reintroduce you to knowledge. You understand that knowledge in you is a knowledge that you put down before you went to sleep and agreed to come back to get this particular knowledge at this particular time. So in so many words, you agreed to come back at this particular time to rediscover your past and rediscover your secret information. And ultimately rediscover that you are God and not you. You see, you agreed to do that. So in so many words, it's your birthright to get this particular knowledge and this particular information. It's your information. It's not the speaker's information. So in so many words, it's your birthright to get this particular knowledge and this particular information. It's your information. It's not the speaker's information. So in so many words, it's your birthright to get this particular knowledge and this particular information. It's your information. It's not the speaker's information.
We're back at it. I don't know what time it is. Sunday service, family. What's up, baby? It go down today. Hey, look, got the God, the great King Simon in the building. Hey, listen, family. We're about to dive in with King because we want to understand this numbers thing, and we're just gonna ask him a few. Of what he got going on. But first, let me make sure the family is in this building. What's up, Chaos family? Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all like and share the video. Y'all get it on. What's up, Static Shock? Pan the Mirror. Glow in Progress. Jasmine Jackson was good. Derwin, Breath of Me. I seen he go. The mob, what's up? Mike D. LaSam. Yeah, I knew. Static. Yes, hey, look. Hey, go down now. Look. First time, we heard about King Simon for a while, and we never seen him, right, in person until we did that, Rich did that metaphysical conference with the family.
Yes.
And listen, this brother right here is, wow, amazing. Talk about high vibrational. Yes, man, it's powerful, brother, man. When you see him, I remember I'm watching that metaphysical conference. I don't know, it was probably 3 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now it's probably been that long. And very motivating, very energetic, you know what I'm saying? High vibrational being. And I was kind of down that day, I'm like, oh, shoot. I had purchased the show from Rich. Shout out to Black Magic 363.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I remember watching, man, and it's just one of those things when you see a brother like you know what I'm saying, you can literally siphon off energy from you just because of the type of energy you was exuding, you know what I'm saying, and you were telling stories and, being enthusiastic about life, right?
Yes, sir.
And, we all go through this struggle or this energy shift, these emotions on day in and day out. It's just up and down and up and down. I don't know, King Simon, you might just be putting the wool over us. But it seems like you're a high vibrational, positive, motivating brother all the time. So I want to say I say to you and blessings. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How does King Simon keep his vibration high?
Brother. like anybody else, brother, first and foremost, I want to thank you very much to you and your beloved Empress. I don't call women queens because the etymology of queens is the king's whore. So I don't call them queens. I call them empresses. So it's very important that we understand that we got to thank people for even allowing us to get on their station and their show. So I thank you for this honor, and I thank all of your listening audience and watching audience to allow me on humbly and respectfully. I like to live clean but fight dirty. That's just me. And I've learned that through the martial arts throughout the years. But, what has helped me is by maintaining my mind throughout the years, because there was those that have watched me probably on my YouTube channel, King Simon Presents, or the Numerovation Nation, or various other channels like Sonetta or Brother Rich's show. I've stated that, there's 3 times in my life that I thought about taking my own life. And it's although that at that time, you could perceive that I was in a healthy family at the age of 8, or I was in a healthy marriage in the age of my 20s, or I was in a healthy environment in the name of doing clubs, and I was doing radio. I was a top radio personality, club promoter, producer, MC. At certain times, I still was not happy at what I was doing. And one thing, when I became, my life is when I went through, and which was so funny because my life correlate with the numbers that I've, began to love and study and research for myself. And that's what I tell everybody: implore the numbers and the frequencies that's connected to you, and use the positive vibrations of those interpretations and rise above whatever you're going through, because it's about managing your weaknesses and strengthening your strengths. And that's what these modalities like numerology, astrology, or tarot helps you to do. Manage your weaknesses and strengthen your strengths. So during the time when at 8 years old now, I thought about taking my life the first time. And people would say, why would an 8-year-old think about that? How would that come to being? So I'm giving you a story because it is a story, that I had. And although, you're born in a family and you think that you love thoroughly, or you love unconditionally, or you link up with friends in school and you think you love unconditionally. What's so interesting, because of my complexion, the great melanated complexion that I have, people would dog me out in my family, as well as the friends that I went to school with. The black booty scratcher, the black African, the this, the that. So I was getting dogged out from school and dogged out in my family, because I was raised in a family that was, predominantly Jamaican, but also a Cuban side. But in the Caribbeans, they have a lot of classes. And so they always, the mentality has been put in them to revere the lighter skin and put the darker skin down. Light skin, dark skin dynamic. So amongst my friends, I had light skin, dark skin. So I realized this at 8 years old, like, wait a minute, nobody loves me? Probably just my mother, who really always comforted me when certain people said certain things in my family about me, because apparently I was the darkest one that came over to America with my, with my family at that time. Everybody else that was darker was in Jamaica, but the majority, I was like the darkest child that came out. So I was getting, the whole dark skin, light skin thing. So at 8 years old, I attempted to cut my own wrist at 8 years old. So where would I get that knowledge? Where would I get that information from? I just want to set something up real quick. So when you're raised in a family like that and thinking no one loves you, no one cares about you, from friends to even family, that's where my mindset said, if they don't care about me, then why should I be here? And I mean, tears are coming to my eyes now because I'm going back to that moment. Because it's so important that those who have children out there, that you make sure your children are secure, not just physically, but spiritually and mentally. And at that time, when I tried and attempted to do this, I went into the bathroom, turned off the light, crying to myself, didn't know who to reach out to, who to talk to. But when I went into the cabinet, the bathroom cabinet, and reached for the razor, a whole barrage of information or screaming in my head says, "Don't do it. You're gonna miss your grandmother. You're gonna miss your mother. You're gonna miss your father." So I don't know. I'm not. I'm 8 years old, so I don't know if it's ancestors. I don't know what's happening in this dark. But I put the thing back. I put the weapon or the blade back and ran out the bathroom in my room and started crying. And that was the first time. So, part of me, family, I remember that because it's deep. And I'm building this because it can happen from a child. And then again, coming back into my adult now in numbers now, which is so interesting. Let me correlate the numbers because it's in my new book. I talk about it briefly in my new book, Numerovation for Mental Stability. That's why I wrote this book, because I know I went through it and my pattern of my family went through it also. So, pardon me 1 second. Let me just wipe my eyes here, bro.
That's good, King, because I had to deal with stuff like that too at an early age, because I'm dark skinned and
right.
Look a particular way, so and then African back then, that's a huge thing, and you fighting off these bullies and teasing and stuff like that, and at an early age, I had to really defend myself and cap back. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where, because it wasn't even in my nature to cap back, but I knew I couldn't keep getting beat up like this, right? Because I was feeling low and down, and my vibration.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even as a kid, you don't even understand that.
Exactly. And what's so funny, brother, Dreamwise, I did cap back through comedy. I had fun. We used to play the dozens and talk about each other's mama, talk about each other. We was comedians. I mean, to the point that certain people, I got good at it that people wanted to fight me. I got so good at it. So because they had their own drama. We on the bus making people laugh on the bus while we telling jokes at a young age. So moving from that 8-year-old to the juvenile ages going into your teens, I was having fun and still able to, and I didn't even step into comedy like that. I used to do comedy, but I didn't even step into comedy for that. I did it as a promoter. But I'm saying that I said that to set up the premise that if our parents don't pay attention to the thought patterns and the sequences that's not only in our family from our grandparents, great grandparents, and all that, then because our bloodline holds a lot of these triggers also, and you might not think your child has that trigger, so you got to look back in your own family bloodline, which I've done. I know my grandfather hung himself. My great grandfather took his life because of depression, and my grandmother, she went into the depression and was checked into a mental facility, according to my family members. So I'm checking the dynamics of the mathematics. So when I was 8 years old, being that I'm born on the 1st of the month in numerology, you can find also the challenge numbers against the numbers also, or the power numbers. So the challenge number for number 1 is the 8. So at 8 years of age, I'm challenged to think about taking my life at a certain time. So there's a science behind this when I started studying it. It's not like I knew numerology then. I didn't know Numerovation. I didn't know I was going to create my own system, Numerovation, after that. But it's just when I started studying the different patterns, that's when I realized, any true scientists or true Gnostic, because that's all science is. It's not the Gnostic, the science of living, the science of life. Any true scientist will recognize that they must study patterns, sequences, and when these patterns and sequences are shown up, they have to, if they're repeatable, observable, and measurable over time, then it's proven itself. Now you're able to teach what's going on because you've seen the patterns and sequences over time come up over and over again, even in your family. So I'm saying this, just that part from a young age. The other parts don't really matter, but it started from young. And that, the need to motivate myself was to go back to your point, the need to stay positive was always to deal with the mind. Always go back to the mind, and then make your mind and your heart mold together. Because some people say, I do it from the heart, or I do it logically from the mind. But when you make the mind and the heart mold together, oh, you unstoppable. That's when it works even more. Do I still go through ups and downs? Yes. But I'm very transparent about what I've gone through and what I go through. Even a relationship. Am I the best in relationship? Of course not. My best thing is always seeing, I've been divorced 3 times, or I've lost the job 3 times. I've lost the marriage job 3 times. So I always say that. But I remember what Ian Levanzant used to say. She said, sometimes you teach what you need to learn. Sometimes you teach what you need to learn. So I make a good counselor because I've been through it, but I knew why I've been through it, because the negative of the number 1 is being stubborn, hard-headed, self-absorbed, or sometimes selfish. So I understand why I went through all that. And now at this point of my life, I am better. I would be a better person in the relationship as long as I'm satisfied mentally, physically and spiritually, and also able to satisfy that person mentally, spiritually, and physically. But I'm more of a mental person. I'm Aquarian. I'm Aquarian energy, or happy energy from the Kemetic standpoint of Aquarius. But the Aquarian energy that we've all seemed to gone through is that mental, one of those mental signs that has to be, you have to keep their mind stimulated. Even my mother remember that. Look, she told one of my girlfriends one time that I brought over and introduced her. She said, look, my son gets bored fast. So if you're not keeping his mind right and keeping a head top, it's not about sexual this and sexual that. It's more keeping my mind in your space mentally, and I keep my mind in your space mentally. So the motivation has always been what I love to do. And I'm a person that has been a promoter, producer, MC, a reggae artist that reached number 5 on the reggae charts, working with Shaggy and Beanie Man and Buju and Shabba. I've worked with all these guys back in my day. So my music was my music, and my need to listen to good music was my motivation, because Bob Marley played in my life. Luciano played throughout my life. Dennis Brown and these great artists from Burning Spear, all these guys played throughout my life. So I had to learn how to use different external things to keep my mind on a higher level. So that's how I'm able to keep a high vibration. And even up to this day, right now, even with the ones I just told you, I've been divorced 3 times. I'm in a house with my ex-wife. She let me stay in a room every time I come to Georgia. You know, that means I've kept the friendship with all of them. You know what I'm saying? So they know me. I'm a better friend than probably went back in those days when I was younger in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? But now they all realize that because I've worked on my mind, worked on my health at 53 years of age, worked on my health and worked on my mind, I've maintained a certain level of understanding or understanding on how to stay connected with them on a positive manner. And it starts at home. Because we could be out in you've seen me on the live with Brother Rich and all that, but you could be in the midst and having fun and enjoying yourself like a comedian does. But you know how many comedians are very sad? You know how many comedians are very mentally strained and drained and doing crazy things? But if you study the story of Paul Mooney, you'll be surprised how Paul Mooney is, or certain other comedians in life, how depressing they are. But they use the comedic stage to overcome their depression. So that's why there's a thing between comedy and tragedy. You always see the face, comedy and tragedy. Yes, there's a fine line between that. There is a fine. So my motivation, brother, has been music. My motivation has been also motivational speakers, and motivation has also been the knowledge that I've gotten from my elders, like the person you played when we started, Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett made my numerology better. Brother Panic made my numerology better. The Nation of Islam made my numerology better. There was, because all the Ansarullah community under Dr. York, Imam Isa, made my numerology of what I've created today better. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the 5% Nation, all of them was a part of my growth into being motivated and also using the mathematics of numerology, the study of numbers, because that's all it means, to be motivated up to this day. And that's what kept me, that's what has kept me on a high. And I want to say one more thing. I was in the 5% at the age of 14 and 15 years of age. Between those ages, I've joined the 5%. And it was those supreme mathematics that stimulated me to want to study. But it was my dear, beautiful, beloved grandmother on my father's side, who was born June 22nd, the master number that she was, that always encouraged me to celebrate or remember somebody's birthday. So usually when people tell me their birthday once, I'll repeat it in my head and then I don't forget, especially in the conscious community. You start telling me people like Bobby Hemming's birthday is November 28th. So I already, Barry Gordy's birthday is November 28th. So you throw me people's birthdays, and as long as they've told me their birthday or I know their birthday, I'll always be able to recite it back at you, because those things are my motivational factor. And every number, and I want the people to know why I wrote this book and why I wrote Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated, is because I realized that the interpretations of the numbers throughout time memorial, from our ancient ancestors, from antiquity, also has a motivational part and it has a lower frequency part. It has a higher vibrational part and it has a lower vibrational part. But if you dwell on the higher vibration of everybody's numbers from 1 to 31, because somebody is born from the 1st of the month to the 31st of the month, if you operate on that vibration, it can be a guiding factor for each and every one of you out there. And because all of you are born on the numbers that everybody mostly remember, even if you don't even bear witness to zodiac or horoscopes, people remember their birthdays. They don't forget that I've seen. And if you understand the motivational factor of those numbers, woo, it's a powerful thing. And I give people homework when they do sessions with me. I give them homework because I want them to study the motivational words connected to their numbers and apply it to them, and then make it a very important factor to make it part of their very life so they can grow and stay motivated or numerovated, so to speak. So, it's important. And this is what's been motivating me over the years, my brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, it's a whole lot, but it's just me.
Oh, that's good, King. That's good.
It's beautiful. That passion is beautiful.
Yes, thank you. That's right. That's what I like. You said passion. I like what you said. And I studied under Les Brown for a whole month, and he always say, do it with passion. Passion.
You know what? And you really speaking to us, because Dreamwise,
yes,
Les Brown is his guy.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Before we as a couple really came deep into Bobby Hemmett and Panic, like Les Brown was the start of, okay, I want to manifest a different reality.
Exactly.
And listening to those motivational speakers really did it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's born February 17th. So I'm born February 1st. So you see, I met him. I worked with him for a whole month. He taught a class, sister, for a whole month in New York, every Wednesdays in 2005, and that's where I got a lot of the motivational factor. And he brought he brought his daughter, he brought his son. He came. I think a few other brothers and sisters that he brought. But we had a session and classes and workshops with him for a whole month every Wednesday, free of charge. You hear me? All right. Now you know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
That's powerful, and he is a powerful brother, because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, you living and you understanding this occult information.
Yes.
And then, you kind of get depressed with, like, you gotta be like, God damn, well, fuck it, if I'm supposed to just sit here and, Bobby and Panic, they take it straight, man, fuck life.
Of course.
I'm like, oh, shit.
Of course. That's why y'all need the balance. That's why we need balance.
Yeah.
Les Brown studied numerology. Lloyd Strayhorn was his introduction.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's a powerful thing. And then also, back to your point about parents.
Yes.
Back in the day, parents have a huge influence on the children family. So y'all gotta understand that to the core, because at the end of the day, man, we just went through a situation where a young lady took her life, and we know it's because of the parents putting a certain type of energy and spell, you know what I'm saying, on that person. So I want that to be known, family.
And let me quote one person.
Power your kids up with affirmations, with strength, with power, with conviction of assurance. Yeah, go ahead, King.
Let me quote one person, Dr. Africa, Layla Africa, the late great Dr. Layla Africa, born January 27th. He said, when a man and woman gets together and have a child, that man's family and that woman's family is pregnant all together. It's a holistic experience. It's supposed to be in our ancient. If people buy his book, the African Holistic Health book, which is the new one, especially the new one he just put out before he transitioned, the textbook of African Holistic Health, go to the history parts when he starts breaking down how the ma'at of relationship is when the whole family contributes in raising the child together. It's not just about the woman. It's not just about the man. It's the coming together of the man, women, and the family to raise that child. So I put that in my book because it's important. If you want to have mental stability, the family has to be involved. There's no joke about this, not just man and woman. Because even if the man, let's say the man transition or the woman transition, even that woman family still is involved, and even that man's family is still involved. Dr. Africa was brilliant. And matter of fact, he was the first to publish my books. He published 3 of my books because he believed in what I was teaching. And when you have an elder like that, may he rest in eternal peace, traveling with the ancestors. Believe in your work and support your work to the point that he publishes under his own publishing company. You know that's what it is. You know what it is, because he's a lot of people don't know Dr. Africa apparently got killed at a young age, got shot in the chest. A lot of people don't know that history. And then the doctor that when they was taking him in the body bag, the doctor, his spirit, metaphysically, the spirit said, let me check this boy's body again. He was a young age, I think around 11 or 12, 11, I think. And they checked his pulse, and the pulse was still, and so they took him to the hospital, revived him, and he had to relearn everything. He told the story on one of my lectures that I produced with him. I gotta find where I put it. It's on my YouTube channel somewhere. But he didn't want to tell that story, but his wife kept on coasting him. But I remember him telling me the story privately, but his wife coaxed him to tell that story. People like Phil Valentine went through it too, which is crazy. And then when they came to, they had to start studying, and a lot of these metaphysics stuff started coming to them. So they relearned and had to relearn everything. And Dr. Africa told me, may he rest in peace again, he said, I thought everybody read all the books in the library or learned music on their own or learned how to read music, because when he had to relearn, he had to study everything. And that's what made him, he played piano proficiently, self-taught. So you see how powerful? A lot of us don't know this information.
Yeah, that's why it was bad. Yeah, shoot. Shout out to the ancestor, because everybody has their journey and their path, and he was definitely supposed to come down in this earth realm and do exactly what he did, because his information and his everything is nutrition, because everybody think he's like a nutritionist, but he's more so spiritual than anything.
He is, definitely.
He's not just talking about the food. He's talking about the food is just going to energize you so you can, turn up on your destination.
And him and Bobby Hennett used to be roommates back in the day, before, I think, during their school time, that stuff. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on the school, but I know he said they used to be roommates back in the day.
Yeah. And they roommates on the altar in our house.
Oh.
Because we have some feng shui principles going on around here. And on the northeast wall in your home, that's for knowledge and wisdom, understanding. Right. So we got a picture of Bobby Hemmett on there, and we got Layla Africa books, both of them. The Handbook for Raising African American Children and African Holistic Health are both on that altar. Mm-hmm. So that we are being programmed, we're sending a message to our minds that the wisdom that is bestowed in those books are being translated within us as far as how we raise our children and how we take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
So that's dope.
I'm proud of you.
Let me ask you this. Go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit about your book, King Simon, and what we can expect to learn from your book. Because, we're definitely going to purchase the book. I'm all the way in, because we are avid readers. But go ahead, King. Tell us what we can expect to get from it.
I've written 4 books thus far. My first book was called No Promotion is Bad Promotion. And that's a book, a motivational book about my promotional life in New York City and throughout the East Coast. Working with various artists and metaphysics teachers and all that. You even got pictures in there with me and Dr. Africa, me and Dr. Sabi and I, all these different, because I got a photo album in the back. So that's the first book. And the first 3 books that I'm going to mention was actually produced or published by Dr. Laila Africa. So every time you support me, with those first 3 books, you support Dr. Laila Africa and his legacy through his wife and his great wife, Dr. Melanie, and they are my publisher. So if you buy them on Amazon, you're going to support me and them at the same time. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that he was able to publish my book. So the first book is No Promotion is Bad Promotion. Just spell my name right. The other book is called Numbers Are Simple. This is the one I showed. People Are Complicated. And the other third book is my children's book is called Numbers Are Simple. Children's Health is Important. It's not just good for children, but it is a good book for adults also to recognize the numbers patterns and how it can attract certain ailments or certain diseases to you if you don't pay attention to it right away. Dr. Africa co-signed that book and he loved it. Matter of fact, in his new remix of African Holistic Health, the textbook, he adds numerology in it and cardology and all that, and domino, using the numbers of dominoes to his book, which is crazy. So he interviewed me on the station. And the last book that just came out, this is the hardcover. This one deals with mental stability, because this was starting. I wrote it in 2020. This year it will start to be wrote, because 2020, if people know the studies of numbers, 2020 adds up to 40. 20 plus 20 equals 40. 40 and 4 plus 0 is 4. And in numerology, the number 4 is one of the main vibrations of mental health and the need to protect your mind. And it's one of the vibrations of depression. So there's a certain amount of numbers, but that's the first number that I named. The number 4, or people born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st of the month. They always have to pay attention to their mind, because they hold a lot of stuff in. So in this book, you will learn to be, like it says, a numerovational guide to recognizing mental instability and staying motivated. So I'm here to help motivate you, but I want you to, with this final book, this is not my final book, because I'm going to write 6 more. I want to write 10 books before I even transition from this realm. I want to write 10 books. But this particular book is here because of the mental strain that all of us went through during this reset. I don't call it pandemic and all that kind. I call it a reset, because sometimes, like Les Brown said, and since both of y'all know Les and know of Les always used to say, every setback is a set up for a comeback. So this reset has been a setback. So it's a setback for a comeback. And I wanted to be a contributor to this comeback through Numerovation for mental stability. And remember, the word numerovation is something that I put together of 2 of the best worlds, 2 of best worlds, which is numero, which is numbers, of course, Latin or Spanish for numero is numbers. Vation coming from motivation, which means motivation. So using your numbers to motivate you is what numerovation means. And that's the numbers that are connected. So this is what you definitely learn about your mental, how to connect with your mind, or at least use the numbers that are connected to your birthday or wherever it shows up. You got to be able to use it for your benefit. That's definitely what you learn out of this book. This one is more of the basic forms of numerology, and then I give you recommended reading in both of these books. But remember, numbers are simple, people are complicated, because you can add numbers together all together. 1 plus 1 is always going to be 2. 2 plus 2 is going to be 4. But if you put a person born under 2 or somebody born under another 2 energy, and if one is too sensitive or one becomes cold and insensitive, then the relationship won't work. And that's what we show, that the vibration of the numbers are very effective also with the zodiac signs. That's why people like Lloyd Strayhorn does astronumerology. And I touch astronumerology also, but this particular book, I stayed focused on numbers and how they work throughout your charts, how they work throughout your cycle, and how they can be beneficial to you if you get the interpretations of each numbers and stay on the higher vibration of the interpretation. So each one of the books are good. The first one is motivational, to help motivate people to do their own business from a small level to a higher level. The next one is all about the numerovation. As far the numbers are Numbers are simple, people are complicated. It's to understand the simplicity of numbers, but the complication comes from what we have learned from our family and all that. That's what has caused the complication. So just to say, like I was a number one, which is supposed to stay motivated, supposed to stay creative, but what my family, whatever I went through in my family has led me to go down the negative at one point of my life, to do negative things of negative vibrations of the number one instead of staying on the higher vibration of the number one. So that's why that book is called Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated, because the interpretations are simple. But because some of us been molested, fondled, lost our daddy, lost our mommy, have daddy and mommy issues, that's where the complication comes in. So numerovation is the evolution of numerology, because numerology only means the study of numbers, and any form of use of numbers is numerology. Whether you're doing mathematics, whether you're doing algebra, whether you're doing additive, subtracting, multiplication, that's a study of numbers. But when you start doing numerovation, you're learning how to use the esoteric meaning of the numbers to help motivate you to be your very best self in this realm until you move on to the next. Simple.
Tell them the Psy King. Tell them the Psy King.
Oh yes, they can.
Right now.
So if you want to get the fast copy, the soft cover, you can go to Amazon.com and book in Numerovation. That's the soft copy. The hard copy is a little longer because once you send the money to me, I have to go and send it to the printer, and I'm going to let them print directly. But Lulu has their own little printing protocols, so they have to print a certain bulk amount at a certain time, and then they start sending out. So it's a little longer if you come to me. But if you want to come to me and get the hard copy, it's you can go to KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com/products. That's KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com/products, and you can get all my merchandise, the t-shirts, the shirts, all that kind of stuff. But if you want it fast and quick, it still look beautiful like this. This is a hardcover one, but it still look beautiful like that, and still the same information. You go to Amazon, and I still, still supports me, and this is my I actually published this book myself, because after Dr. Africa passed on, his wife decided that she's not going to publish anybody else's book after Doc passed. So I said, well, I'm going to have to learn how to do it myself. And hey, it came out well. I want to thank people like Joshua Sarah as my editor and also my graphic designer. This is an awesome front cover if people really could see it. I gave him the concept, and he just, when you got a good graphic artist or a good editor, that's when they make your dreams or your visions come to reality. And look what has come out to this reality right now. I birthed this book, and it's a beautiful book. So Amazon.com or KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com. That's the hardcover. Amazon.com for the soft cover. Yeah. Your sister, your wife wanted to ask me something. Is she all right? She ready?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So with 2020 being what it has been,
Good.
a lot of people are hopeful that 2021 will bring greater energy, what have you. How can a person determine what type of year they're going to have based on their numerology?
That's a good question, my sister. Now, what is so interesting in the study of numerology, you can, to find out your personal year frequency and energy and interpretation, all you do is add the month that you're born with the day that you're born with the year that you want to project or find out an understanding about it. So let's say I'm born February 1st, then I'll put 2021 under that. So when you add February 1st, 2 + 1 + 20, 21, that equals 2024. And 2 + 2 + 4 = 8. So I'm going to be in my 8th personal year next year. So that deals with money, finance, ancestral connection, dealing with older people, old situations that might come to head. Also deals with my health, paying attention to my health, my bones, my teeth, my knees, also paying attention to my intestinal tracts. But it's also a good year for launching businesses also. But like I told y'all earlier, what did I say? 8 is one of my challenge numbers. And I tell people, and in my sessions, I give everybody their challenge numbers. And I said, look, challenges only present itself. Either it's going to challenge you to be your best or challenge you to be your worst. It depends on how you handle the challenge. So 8 in the 5% nation, they call that the build and destroy cycle. So universally, it's going to be called a 5-year cycle. For everybody, it'll be a 5-year cycle because we're under the Gregorian calendar of information as far as numbers, and we're all mentally resonating with it. Although Ethiopia has its calendar and China has its calendar and Jewish people have their internal calendar, we are all going with this 2021. So if it's a 5-year cycle, the positive of the number 5 is learning to adapt, learning to be versatile, learning to expand yourself and your brand and your business and your mind to another level. But it's also the number that says learning to connect the male and the female energy together and grow in it, not pervert it. Learning to utilize. So men that are straight up alpha male have to learn about empathy and being sympathetic and versatile at that. But women that are also alpha females or might have male energy have to learn to balance that also. Extra feminine energy has to learn to balance and understand the males, and the males have to understand the women in a 5 energy. But also it's a good year for manufacturing, developing your business a little bit more, taking it to another level through communication and advertising your business. So in a 5-year general cycle, that's what you're supposed to do. But I also look at the 20 and the 21 separately before I add up to the 5, because in tarot numerology, the number 20 is the number of the awakening, the number of judgment. So all of us need to be awakened, and all of us need to pay attention to having good judgment of ourselves and others. And then the 21 represents the number of the universe, which they call the crown of the Magi number. So if you're crowning yourself with a Magi number, the Magi's in history was those that was able to turn nothing into something. Those were the alchemists. Those are the ones that came to Jesus with the gold, the silver, the myrrh, all these, and frankincense and myrrh to offer certain things. And those were the ancient Magi's from Ethiopia. A good book to get about Magi's, if you want to study the real history from a Black perspective about Magi's, get Mfundishi, Jehutima's book. Brother Mfundishi. Go to his website and get that book. It's a powerful book, so you can recognize at least the stories of the Magi, because each of us as men and women have that Magi history. And because we're going into the number 5, the negative of the number 5, because the word disaster adds up to 5. And on one end of the negative of the 5 is being scattered, being reckless, being destructive. So even people born on the 5th, the 23rd, or the 14th of the month, they have to be careful of being too destructive or going down a destructive path, especially in a 5-year. But it's also a good year for those that are born on the 5 next year, because everybody get a turn. This was a good year for those born on the number 4, 13, 22nd, or 31st of the month, 2020, because it adds up to that number 4 energy if they kept their mind right and kept their mind motivated. But it can be a bad and traumatic year for the number 4. Like this year, I lost one of my friends who was my best man to my second marriage. Matter of fact, like I said, I'm staying in her house right now. This brother took his life, and he was born on the 13th of July. Took his life, jumped off a bridge because of the stress of life. You know what I'm saying? So I pay attention again to patterns. 2020 has been a very strenuous, mental, straining year. So going into a number 5 year, if you didn't prepare yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and structure yourself and discipline yourself in a 2020 year and actually see where you were going, 5 can be nerve-wracking, because the 2021 rules the 5 energy, and it deals with nervous issues, nervous breakdowns. If you didn't prepare yourself, because right now, as far as numbers are concerned, first year of the crossroads of a universal frequency. So we're in the crossroads for the next 4 years, all the way till 2023. We're going to be into the crossroads cycle. So either we're going to cross over to be our best moving forward, or some of us are going to cross over and be our worst. But everyone is called, but not everybody's chosen. So I totally understand it. So understanding the vibration of the 5 for everybody out there, just remember, family, in this interview on this beautiful program called Dream Wise, it's very important to pay attention to the frequencies and the patterns and sequences of these numbers to help give you guidance. Like I said, it's not here to control you. It's not here to say, oh, you're number 5, or you are number 2, and you are number 1. No. I'm born on the 1st. That means I'm guided by the vibration of the number 1 on a positive and negative level. So if we're going into, all of us are going into the 5, just add, I want each and every one of you right now to practice this. Write down your name, your birth, the day you were born, the month you were born, with the day you were born, and add number 5 to it. Keep it that simple. add number 5 to it, and whatever it adds up to, that's the frequency that you're going into for the new year. And then I want you to Google up the interpretation or get my book or whatever, but I want you to Google it. It's simple. Google up the interpretation. You're going to get both the high and low and stay on the high. I mean, study it and resonate on the high vibration of whatever your month, day, and the year that we're going into. Because I want y'all to learn this before y'all come to me and do a session, because I deal with names and birthdays and your middle name, your first name, your last name, and I deal with all that, and I give you a whole gamut of stuff. I want you to learn at least the basics for yourself, because I'm not about here being your leader and your this and your teacher and all that kind of stuff. I want all of my participants, because when I do a class on numerology or numerovation, I don't ask for students. I want y'all to be a participant. So everybody's called a participant in my class, because we are participating in sharing each other's energy. Because you may have seen something about numerology that I haven't seen yet, or I've seen certain things about numerology that you haven't seen yet. But please, family, pay attention to this vibration of the 5, because it could be a higher vibration of expanding to be your best, or it can be a lower vibration of bringing you down to another level. So I want everyone to add the month that they were born to the day that were born to the number 5, since 2021 is a number 5. I don't want you to go through all the in-depth stuff like I do, but just go down and then Google up that number that it adds up to, and then resonate in this year under that number. Make it a mantra. So, because the more you say it in yourself and your thoughts and to yourself, the more it starts to manifest in you to be your very best self in whatever you do and however you do. I hope that answered your question.
No, that's, hey, look.
I'm actually born on a 5. Shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When your birthday?
23 guy.
When your birthday?
August 23rd.
Oh, you born August 20th? Oh, get out of here. Yeah, you definitely on. Next year is going to be one of your good years, my brother. Next year is going to be one of your great years, as long as you stay on a higher level. Like I said, if you add that, if you tried adding it, do you add it? Because it adds up, your birthday adds up to a number 9. When you add, when you do the personal year cycle, it adds up to a number 9. So this is a year for advancements, but it's also a year of international connections that you need to make. It's a good year for you to learn language. It's a good year for you to detox people, places, and things that no longer serves your purpose in your life. Because number 23 is one of the best combinations of numbers in numerology, according to tarot. Because that's one of those power numbers that deals with the need to have compassion, which is the 2, and the need to be self-creative or be creative, which is the 3. So once you understand that pattern, adds up to the number 5, just don't become scattered. Don't let your mind go all over the place. Hone your talent, because you being born in the 8th month, 8 represents discipline and organization in the certain system of numbers. So that's telling me that you need to always be disciplined on how you do things in order for you to at least tame the number 5, so it doesn't go into drug addiction and reckless thoughts and reckless movements and scattered minded stuff. Like probably when you was young, you was all over the place. They call that, and they call the number 5. Anybody born on the 5th of the month, the 14th of the month, or the 23rd of the month, they call them the jack of all trade, master of none. So you got to always protect your energy and balance it off, and make sure you finish what you start, and don't do something that you're not going to finish. When is your birthday, my sister? Let's touch my sister's birthday.
October 7th.
Oh, 7. Whoa, you born the same day as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
One thing about the messenger, let me tell you, because that's what you are. When you're born into that number 7 energy, that's a messenger energy. Most of the great one of the Dalai Lamas was born under the 7. Messenger, of course, was born under the 7. That 7, or people born on the 7th, the 16th, the 25th of any month are usually the researchers, the one that they hold things in their head and they study people. They like to read. People don't cut. One thing about you, you don't even have to say too much, but people tell themselves by them talking too much. They tell themselves, and you know how to watch it. Okay. He's telling me some bull crap. You ain't messing up. That's one thing about the 7s. But 7s are the ones that do the research, the studies. Like Phil Valentine is born under the number 7. Kaba Hiawatha is born under the number 7. Lloyd Strayhorn is born under the number 7. They do the deep research because they don't like to take nothing on face value.
Oh man. And you know what? And I be having to create balance with that, because I will be in my phone, I will be in a book, and Dream would be like, damn, you still looking at that? Yeah. I'm like, I can't stop. Like, I can't stop. Like, once I start looking at something, I gotta keep.
That's y'all.
Knowing more about it.
And that's what's so interesting. Let me go back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As much as people talk craziness about him, he put out ministers out there for a reason, because he understood the importance of delegation. And one thing about the messenger, he won't say nothing for a long time and watch you, but he will build in the background. He'll watch in the background. And then Savior's Day, that's when he said, all right, we got 1,600 acres of land. Okay, we just built this hospital. Because they're the silent warriors. They in behind the scenes just watching. You know what I'm saying? Like your husband, he's a number 5. He's going to be out there. He's going to do his thing and make it happen. But you are the ones that say, you know, baby, I think you should. And that's why he should pay attention to what you're saying when you say it, because you're very intuitive. And when your dreams come through, they're very vivid. You see things.
Oh, he knows.
I know he knows. He with you. Right, Dream? Right, Dream?
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, I know.
So
me and Kobe got the same birthday too. So that's shout out.
Oh yeah, you Kobe. Yes, definitely. And of course, that ancestor was brilliant in what he did, which is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because and that Virgo energy, y'all want to perfect it. You know, that's why when he was going up against Jordan, he was studying Jordan, because Virgos will study them, which is interesting to me. And then he just said, you know what, I'm coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Because that 23 energy is that anybody born under that 5 is that brilliant number. They are known as the brilliant one. Even Ray Charles was born on the 23rd. You know what I'm saying? I believe it's September or October, one of those. But I know he's born on the 23rd. Brilliant in what he does. Yeah, he might have women. He had all this going on, because sometimes 23s or people born under 5 have to be careful of addiction to sex, addiction to drugs, addiction to marijuana, addiction to hallucinogens. They got to be very careful of addiction. So you always got to protect. And you're born actually a day before Dave Chappelle, too. Dave Chappelle born on the 24th, yeah. Which is crazy. So the Virgo energy, and what's so funny, in numerology, the Virgo is also connected to the number 5 also. So you got a double 5 energy. That you got a double 5 energy, because of that Virgo energy is connected to that swift earth sign that needs to do things and perfect things, and and have things, make things happen. So that's a powerful thing. And what's so funny, between both of y'all, 23 plus the 7, that equals 30. So one of the main ways that y'all gonna stay together is by communication, being very communicative, and dance with each other privately. Have your own little silent dance. You know, they turn on the music. I used to tell them, yo, go ahead and dance butt naked in your room. Do your thing. That's
how we got our first kid.
That's how it works.
Exactly how.
That slow dance. Remember that, babe?
That's exactly how.
Oh, yeah. I'm good. The numbers don't lie. People lie to themselves. I try to tell them.
Yeah, man. King Simon in the building, man. Powerful brother, man. Powerful energy.
Appreciate it.
One more question.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I just did a video on the Great Conjunction, and I did the numbers to it, and it came out to 10.
Yes.
And I was doing like a code meaning to it of what the day is going to resonate with 10 and 1 being the same actual number. You got any insights or any thoughts on this Great Conjunction day? Of
course, brother. From a mathematical perspective, remember they said the conjunction is happening between Jupiter and Saturn also, which is very interesting. There's a conjunction happening at that time. Jupiter is ruled by the number 3 in numerology, and the Saturn is ruled by the number 8. And when you add the 2, that's 11. That deals with the spiritual master, spiritual healing energy that's about to show forth. But also when you come to the 10, remember 10 in tarot numerology is what we call the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune energy deals with either you can be fortunate by wielding your power to a certain levels of yourself and spiritual self, or you can be fortunate for negative also. So that's why I said earlier, not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to pick it up. People are meant to still stay deaf, dumb, and blind. And when you have a number 10, a 10 cycle coming in, this is one of the best true or new beginning cycles that people should think on newer and higher levels. The one, and I write about it on both my books about the number 0. 0 is a messenger number. So now that you add it up and found out it adds up to 10, 12 plus 21 plus 20 adds up to 10. The messenger number of the 0 is that everybody should be, or those that are connected should be on a higher frequency going up into a new beginning mentally, but also spiritually and physically. So soon as that 2012, that 2021 energy comes in, it's something to pay attention to. But remember, this stuff has been coming in gradually, just like the sun comes in gradually and goes out gradually, sunrise and sunset. It's something you need to pay attention. And if it's a Wheel of Fortune cycle, everybody should think on that higher level of spiritual growth, spiritual understanding, spiritual awareness, being very circulating information with each other, not holding it back on a selfish manner, because sometimes when it adds up to the 1 plus 0 adds up to 1, the negative of the number 1 is second guessing yourself, being indecisive, and being selfish. No, this ain't the time to be selfish. It's time to rise on its highest level. As a matter of fact, let me share something and read something out of my book that I wrote about the number 10 to y'all real quick. Let me just read something out of it. All right. Yes, let me just read something to y'all about the number 10. I said,
we ready to hear it. Go ahead.
It says, number 10 is the symbol of complete evolution in many studies. But number 1 stands besides the 0, ready to initiate a new sequence of manifestation on a higher phase of evolution. In many older studies, the number 10 is known as the best combination of numbers in numerology. In Numerovation, the number 10 is known as one of the master number potentials because 0 adds infinite power and potential to any number it follows. The number 10 person, similar to the number 1, can be very successful driven, constructive, strategic in thought, and can be a dominating force, leader, and pioneer in various fields on an extreme higher level. However, due to the extreme vibration of the number 0, lower side or lower dual side, the number 10 can also show its face and can cause the number 10 person or people resonating with that 10 frequency to be extremely difficult. It can be a very extremely difficult time, overly arrogant, destructive, indecisive, a corrupt leadership mentality can happen. Also, remember, like I said, number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune number. So that high levels of honors and respect in any field that you choose in this number 10 vibration is going to be very important. So I talk about that 10 in this book, and I break it down so people can give it from a basic and principle, not just relating to people born on the 10th, but relating to the vibration of what we're going to in this number 10 frequency energy. So, this is a great time. Put it like that. This is a great time. And like the scripture says, the great and dreadful day of the Lord. It's great if we keep our mind right, but it's dreadful if we're not in our right mind, our right state. You know what I'm saying? That's what that interpretation. I'm gonna say it from my interpretation because you might get other interpretation, but there is a thread of truth in all interpretations. Okay?
Right. Man, we appreciate so much, man. Beautiful Bill, beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Give the family how they can reach you so they can get their numbers done and their names done.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank both of you for allowing me to be here. I am honored. You pulled out a lot out of me, and that's good. I like when people pull out things out of me because I have a story on multiple levels to tell. People, if you want to do a numerovation session, I don't do readings. I want to make it clear. I had to tell a panel of readers or quote unquote readers today. I mean, not today, a week or 2 weeks ago, I said, look, we don't do readings. We are consultants and we are advisors. If presidents and rich people can call them consultants and advisors, then you need to take on that name, because what happened now, family, the so-called reading has become like a parlor trick. You know, and some people don't apply it when they get these quote unquote readings. So I implore all of you to go and get a numerovation or astrology consultations and all that, because what they're doing is consulting you with astrology or tarot or numerology to give you guidance. So that's a consult, not a reading. People want to be read. I look beautiful. I'm this, I'm a that, I'm a number this, my sign is this. I want all the good of it. But many of you are not willing to apply it. That's why I created Numerovation. So if you want to do a Numerovation, a serious Numerovation session with me, where I deal with the numbers of your name and your birthday and all the other cycles that you might be going to, please, if you live outside of the United States, and I repeat, if you live outside of the United States, like in Canada, Africa, the Caribbean, wherever, text me via WhatsApp. Text me via WhatsApp. But if you live in the United States or territories that is connected to the United States, like the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, then you can text me on your regular phone line at 347-496-1022. I'll repeat it slower for you. 347-496-1022. And you see my email up here, IamKingSimon@gmail. You could also do that. You could also email me at IamKingSimon@gmail.com. Or you can go also for my products, go to KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com/products. Got my bio up there, everything that I've done throughout my life. It's not everything, but it's enough. And then if you want to order the books on Amazon, you're more than welcome to order on the Amazon. But the links as far as KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com/products, you can get t-shirts, shirts, mugs, disaster fanny packs. Also, the books are also connected on that link also. So thank y'all very much. Thank y'all very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it, King. I just ordered your book right now.
Thank you, brother.
No, we don't play when it comes down to the support, y'all. And y'all people in the chat, y'all need to understand that if y'all haven't checked out the video dreaming I did on Friday, we shouted out a lot of people who have sent us amazing, beautiful stuff. Check out my ring. Ooh. It's my ring I got from Spirit Doula.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe Essentials is her website.
That's beautiful.
Copper, that generation, that generator energy, that's copper.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
So y'all support, but King Simon, man, we could talk to you all day.
I could talk. I could talk all day to tell you.
All day. We can talk all day, for real.
But yeah, this is my family time. You know, I'm here with my family. I'm here in Georgia right now with my family and all that. Getting ready to head to Florida. So look out. We might be doing an event in Florida coming up in January. So I'm heading to Florida between Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach. I'm gonna be in that area. So, and West Palm Beach also. So get ready, because I ain't afraid of none of this stuff that's going on. That's one thing I'm not. Because if you're living at a higher vibration family, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. And everything you want is on the other side of fear. That was said by Dr. Khalid Muhammad's son, Dr. Farrah Gray, a dear friend of mine, and his father was a dear friend of mine. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Let's make it happen.
And we appreciate you again, King Simon.
Yes.
Man, the Chaos family, y'all know what it is.
Yes.
Hey, next Sunday we going Dr. B and Priestess Aset. They're going to be dropping on this great conjunction from an astrological aspect.
Yes.
So y'all stay tuned for that.
Yes,
man.
y'all.
Down, they go down. Hey, y'all know what it is.
Happy Sunday service. Y'all enjoy y'all's day.
Exactly.
Peace to the gods.
All right. Peace. Peace.
Yes, King.
Y'all good?